Fair Real Estate. So it's quite often that we talk to people who say they're out looking at houses, but they're concentrating on new homes, new construction. So they're not planning on using a realtor since they're going straight to a builder. They just think that a realtor is superfluous at that point or not necessary. So I think that can't be any farther from the truth. I think a realtor actually probably adds more value on a new home purchase, especially new construction, than they do even on a resale. So I kind of want to go through some of the points on why that is the case here. First of all, I'll break this down into three different phases of when you're looking for a house, especially if you're doing a construction build. You have the pre-purchase of actually going and doing the search for the house and the lot and the floor plan and the builder. You got the contract, and then you have everything after the contract towards closing. So kind of go through the benefits a realtor has in each of those phases of your home search. So first is the pre-purchase, right? When you're actually going out and finding a house, even a new home. And when I say I think it's more important even on when you're doing a build than on an inventory home or a resale, is that there's actually a lot more things to take into consideration when you're doing a build. So, and a realtor can kind of show you the pros and cons of all the different directions. So not only do you have the neighborhood, but now you're breaking up the entire process into multiple pieces, right? So you have to find a builder that you like. You have to find the product they have. You're looking for a 60-foot house product, 70-foot product. So you have to figure that out in your price range, what products you're looking at. You have to think of the floor plan, what plan that meets your needs, what plan per builder meets your needs. What lots do they have available? Sometimes a builder may have the perfect plan and the perfect house, but they don't have any lots that you like. So you have to make sure it's kind of a mix and match of all these things. You have to make sure that all meets your needs. So there's a whole bunch of different variables to the equation when you're building a new house. And a realtor that knows the area, knows the builders, knows the lots available, knows what's coming up on the market is definitely going to give you a huge advantage when you're going through this process. Next, when you're looking, not only you have to consider all these things, but you also have to kind of consider what kind of extras you're going to have in the house, and make sure that the home that you want, based on the base price, any kind of premiums that you have, extras, making sure that is still going to be in the market rate of what is available at that time in that neighborhood. So you're buying, say, a house in Bridgeland here in Cypress, and you're looking at a 60-foot product, and with this size house, this is what's going to cost after talking to the builder in terms of all the upgrades, what the average design center costs are going to be. Is that once all that's added together, is that going to put you in the market? Or are you buying a house that you're never going to get to resale because this house is going to cost you $500,000, and similar homes, either inventory homes or resales in the same neighborhood, are going for $400,000? If that's the case, it may not make sense for you to purchase that, or it's a good negotiating point to go back to the builder and try to get them give you some more incentives or some kind of other discounts on that house. So if you don't have a realtor, those are very difficult things to do. So now that we have all those details down, at least now we picked out your builder, maybe in the neighborhood, and have an idea of the lot. Now it's time to actually sit down with the builder and actually get the contract signed. So that's the next phase. So even if we have the idea of the floor plan and the area and the builder, there's still more things that need to be decided. So we go down, we sit, we're going to sign a contract. There's going to be questions that are going to be asked right there when you sign the contract, such as, well, you got to pick up the lot, right? We want to make sure that the home fits on the lot. If you want a pool, you want to make sure you have enough distance from the back of the home to the pool, and you consider all the easements. So something you have to keep in mind. You have to consider the swing of the house. You want the garage on the left, you want the garage on the right. What are the benefits? Where's the sun going? How are you going to see the cars in the drive when you're driving up the street? That's all things to think about when you're doing the swing of the house. How is the shape of the house on the lot? How is it going to make the backyard look and be configured based on the swing of the house? Things you have to consider. The elevation, the front elevation, which is the way the front of the house looks like. Builders typically have at least 4 different elevations, maybe 5 or 6. The elevations are actually going to change the way it fits on the lot. Make sure you know how your elevation is going to change the way it fits on the lot. What are the benefits of the different type of stone or brick or stucco elevation? So we go through that. The type of roof is going to be a tile roof or a composite roof. all these things have to be considered at the time of the original signing. So the structural options, right? Do you want that fifth bedroom upstairs? Do you want the media room? The pros and cons. Maybe it'd be cheaper if the media room is just going to be a shell of a media room and the builder wants to charge you $25,000 for it. Maybe you should keep it a shell and pay $5,000 after closing to have a contractor come and finish it out for you. So things like that you have to consider at the time of contract. And again, having someone else on your side to help you with those decisions and not relying on the builder who's representing, or the builder salesperson who's representing the builder to help you is definitely a good thing to have on your side of a realtor. And when all that is decided and we're about to sign the contract, that's also going to be some negotiations going on there, right? Maybe that lot premium is $35,000, but I know other lots, similar lots in the neighborhood have been going for $15,000. Give us a break on that. Why is this elevation a $10,000 premium on this plan, but the almost the exact same type of elevation as other plans, only $3,000? Maybe this should be $3,000. So all those things I have negotiated successfully with clients in the past, and make sure you're getting the best deal before you sign the contract. And lastly is the actual contract. I would say this is probably the least helpful, or not that a realtor can't be helpful, but a builder's contract is going to be 50 to 100 pages long. It's going to be thick. We can't change anything in terms of all the actual typeface on that contract. Nothing we can change other than, and the importance of a realtor is make sure everything we discussed, base price, structural price, the incentives they're giving you towards design center, that kind of thing. Make sure all that stuff is actually built in that contract and is correct what we discussed. Is there a contingency for you to sell your house? Make sure that's in there. How long is that contingency? Make sure it's all written down. Make sure it's all correct. So contract would be the final thing. Make sure everything is the way we discussed per the terms, and sign and answer any questions that you may have. And finally, the last phase, basically all the time from the signing of that contract through construction, through closing. So lots of different aspects. A realtor can definitely be helpful here. So first of all, a design center, right? So a realtor may join you with the design center if they have design center experience or want to help. So that can be helpful to help many clients in the design center. So with my wife. So that's one thing. But another thing is just talk to your realtor. Hey, does it make sense for me to pay $15 a square foot for wood floors in the family room? I would say probably not. I would get the standard carpet and do wood floors afterwards. How about different types of countertops? How about bathrooms? Are white cabinets, is that better for resale now than dark cabinets? Which way should go there? So little things like that, whereas a realtor who knows the market knows what's good for resale, because let's face it, most people don't live in a house longer than 5 to 7 years. So even when you're building a house, you gotta kind of have your back of your mind, how are we gonna be able to sell this? But yeah, a realtor can help with that. But like I said, I actually even go to the design center, or my wife goes to the design center with clients and even helps them out at the design center. So again, just nice to have more people on your side helping you out during the process. The builder's going to have a lender for you to use. They're going to say, if you use this lender, we'll give you all these incentives. Typically, they're pretty good, and they usually work fairly well with the builder, but you always got to shop around. You got to at least talk to 2 or 3 other lenders to see how their rates compare to the builder's rates, how the fees compare, and compare apples to apples. The builder's lender is not always the best lender. So that's another thing a realtor can help you out, talking to other lenders and making sure everything's good to go there. New home, a lot of people are like, do I need an inspection? I say absolutely yes, you should get an inspection. One of the funniest stories is I had an inspection once for a brand new house, and the stove wasn't grounded. And I was there with the realtor, and if you touch the stove and you touch the vent on top of the stove at the same time, it's giving me a really big shock found during the inspection. So thank you to my inspector for making me test that to double check it. Yeah, it shocked the crap out of me. But anyway, it's stuff that can happen on a new house. There's things new home inspection reports are typically about the same amount of information than a resale. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in a new home. And the best part is the builder typically will fix everything. And again, if they don't fix everything, it's good to have a realtor on your side to have them negotiate to make sure they do fix everything. So, but yeah, definitely recommend an inspection report with a new home. If not, when you buy the home within the first year after you buy the home during the warranty. Conflict resolution is another thing that you need to consider is if you have an issue, right? If you wanted a particular backsplash and they installed a different backsplash, make sure you have someone on your side to fix that backsplash. When we built our home, we wanted a 18-inch hearth on our fireplace. They installed a 12-inch hearth. Making sure that is taken care of up front, make sure it's correct and done the way that you want it done. If something is included that is not correct, for example, we had a big space for our AC vents. It was much bigger than what we were told it was going to be. Nothing they can do. That's where the AC vents had to go. We negotiated some extra recess lights. So there's things like that you can kind of play with. But again, having a realtor on your side to help with that conversation is very beneficial. Before you close on your house, you're going to have a final walkthrough. You can look at paint, you're going to look at texture on the walls, you're going to make sure everything is in the house like you want it in the house. It's good to have another realtor with you during that process to make sure everything is the way it should be. Realtors have walked through hundreds, especially the realtors are, done a lot of work. They've walked through hundreds of houses before. They know what to look for during these walkthroughs. So it's good, again, to have another extra set of eyes to help you out during the walkthrough process. And finally, closing. Obviously, you get to closing, you want to make sure all the terms are discussed are exactly the way they show up on that closing report. So a realtor will help you do that. They'll answer any questions and make sure the closing is smooth. So finally, a couple other just kind of final points on benefits of using a realtor. So first of all this is basically if you use an actual realtor who knows the area, who is a reputable realtor who can help you out. This is not, none of this stuff counts if you basically have a buddy that does it part-time and you just want to sign his name down when you do a contract, because obviously he's not going to know the area and the people and the builders. So, but using a reputable realtor, someone that gets good referrals, someone you can trust, someone that knows the area, knows the area, is definitely extremely helpful. And some other points is, first of all, I kind of touched on this earlier. The builder's salesperson works for the builder, so they have the builder's best interest in mind, right? So they're going to do whatever they can do to make sure the builder gets the most out of this, for the most part. I mean, there's some nice people, but in general, they have to go back. When in doubt, they got to go back and fight for the builder. A realtor is going to help you out. They're hired by you to help you out to make sure the process goes smoothly, make sure you get everything that you deserve to get during this process. Which brings me to the second point, in that you don't actually pay for a realtor for the most part during this process, right? The realtor is paid from the sellers. The seller pays the realtor's commission. So anything you do, basically the realtor doesn't get paid unless you close on the house, and they're not paid by you. They're actually paid by the seller, which is the builder. So, which kind of brings up the question, all right, well, when I save money, if the builder doesn't pay commission, when I save money, and typically the answer is no, because the commission is basically part of a marketing fee, right? It's much easier and simpler for builders to market to the real estate crowd. They know who the realtors are, they know who the bigger realtors are, they wine and dine these realtors, and that's who they market to, and that's also part of that marketing plan, is to pay their commission. It's much simpler for them to pay the realtors and market to the realtors than to market to the whole world in general, right? So, and they want to make sure that these realtors bring back more people. So if if the word gets out that, oh wow, you don't use a realtor, you get a break on your commission, then those realtors, those big realtors, these builders are wooing, probably aren't going to bring any more people to them. So they definitely want to treat realtors and their clients well, which brings me to my last point. And statistically, I went and run numbers in the past. I just ran some numbers for Bridgeland just to double check today. The amount of money, the difference between the list price and sales price to list price ratio, homes with realtors typically sell for almost over a full % less than those without realtors. So in other words, if you have a realtor, the discount off list price for a new home is going to be less than those people who go straight into a builder and purchase the home straight from the builder without a realtor. That's just for inventory homes. That's just for the houses that are actually listed on the market on the MLS, because that's the only data I can see. I can't see data from dirt builds or when people actually do the construction themselves. But it is pretty telling that if you have two sets of people, one with realtors, one don't, the ones with realtors are getting paying less for the house than the ones without. And that says something, even though these builders have to pay the commission. So a little longer video than I was expecting. I'm hoping I got my point. If you have any questions, please feel free to give me a call. My name again is Jim Mulholland. My company again is Cypher Real Estate. There'll be information at the end of this video on how to get in touch with me. Happy to help. Anytime you're looking for houses here in the Cypress area or anywhere around the Houston area, me or one of our agents can definitely help you out. Otherwise, just find a good realtor to help you out. I think that's it, and we'll talk to you next time. Thanks.